Good morning, all my fraud book friends. I'm doing a quick review in my hodgepodge, and maybe this video will stay. And my hopes are that it is a good review in general, and I can discuss other things too in my hodgepodge. It's a different review than in other ones in particular. And the reason why I do reviews mostly is for prepping and guns related stuff. Okay. When I'm doing a review for that, I appreciate good quality. I appreciate cheap quality in terms of cost. That's the only thing cheap I like about anything I purchase as a prepper. So I search for those gems that are reasonably priced, do the job, and satisfy my need, my family's needs, what it is there for. Okay, so I'm enjoying a coffee on a respite, sabbatical, a break from crazy jobs I had since September in Gateway, which is another story in itself. Well, anyways, so I'm on Facebook often, and I saw, how they have the advertisements between the reels, or the reels going, and it's not 100% finished, and it looks like it might be more exciting than most of the other reels that are usually comedic in nature with some humor. Other countries, people doing, kind of toilet bowl humor, but it's kind of cute. Well, some of those commercials and what have you, and some of the things on top of the Facebook page, what have you, all the advertising, you have private businesses. And I kind of like to help them if they're legitimate. But it seems like every time I use my card, with those businesses, they're legitimate, but somehow I get a fraud alert for other purchases, not just from them. Okay, they have nothing to do with it, but I always get a fraud alert thereafter within a week or so, and so I have to change out my debit card every time, and it's upsetting. However, this latest time, it was a good product. It came today. And I got a fraud alert yesterday. And I said, I'm not changing my debit card. If my card is out there and they're in the Far East, in Indochina, then you know it's not me. Okay, I'm not going to keep on changing my card. And they're worried, well, if you have a lot in your bank, then someone's going to accept it. And I'm like, okay. It only happens with the Facebook businesses. So some of the systems, one way or another, is divulging and using credit card or debit card information erroneously. It's like, okay. So the worst did not happen. I finally received the product today, 2 weeks later. Okay. And so this product is a little different, and it's off the beaten path. And so some philosophies about it I'm going to discuss, because I enjoy eating, don't we all? In a grid down situation, in an apocalyptic situation, in let's say a nuclear holocaust situation, we're in a safe place. Let's hope and pray. And food starts running out. My thinking is have as much of it as you can to sustain you. But it is also the philosophies with preppers. You can't just grin and bear it. When the saying is in the hardcore prepping field, which I agree with, Bible, beans, and bullets. It doesn't have to be necessarily in that order. It could be bullets first, then beans, of course, so you survive, so you can get to that Bible and pray for better days. The beans are there to sustain you. They're good food source that can keep a long time. I understand these things, and with the exception of actual location where I live, in a bunker, in the woods somewhere, in the mountainside somewhere of Virginia where you can't find me, okay, I have a pretty good idea of prepping in general and self-defense entirely, especially when it comes to the law and it comes to the moral philosophies. So anyways, this review is more on food because I like snack meals and everyday working. I like snack meals to keep me going without really making me feel full all over in my gut, in my chest area. So I bend over with my surgeries before. I'm able to do everything. Trust me, I can lift a car. But when I do bend over, I feel more discomfort. Okay, in my age, and I feel it up top side that has nothing to do with surgeries. And so I want to eat something that's sustaining, but it satiates. It makes me feel good with energy, whether it's paleo or it's especially, hopefully, good proteins. And sometimes even throw some carbs in there. When I feel that little twang where I know I'm running on empty and I'm feeling it and my stomach is kind of building up and I'm like, yeah, like the Snickers bar commercial, maybe it's that time. I'm like, it's time to get something. I might go to the store and buy something sugary, and I know it's not healthy for me, but I know it's not enough to affect me and make me feel jittery with a sugar rush. Okay. And so I will hit that just to tide me over until dinner the next hour or two. Give me enough energy for the next hour or two until dinner or the main meal. Okay, the next main meal. So today I am pleased to do a review. The name on Facebook might be the same, but I thought it was a family company that did it. And I'm going to look through the literature in the pack they gave me. So you can add up and subtract and divide with me. The package says 10 down here. It is Paleo Valley summer sausage. I like summer sausage because just like the name says, you can have that during the hot summertime and it still tastes good. It's not overbearing. It's not too salty. It's not too ungratifying. Okay, it's filling enough. You can have something light in the carb department with a good drink of water and feel, refreshed in so many ways. That's why I love summer sausage all year long. But it's very expensive when you go to even Walmart, where you see them in some of those separate shelving that sits by itself, and the summer sausage is in a dark purple, almost black plastic wrap around it. It's nice and shiny. The wrap is interior to that plastic. Okay, and it's nice and smooth and everything, and it's about, I want to say, very expensive, at 10 inches long and about 3 inches thick. And so it's expensive. I forgot the last price, but it's increasing. We're getting close to like $8 to $9 a little summer sausage roll. And how I've used that before, and I love doing it in my direct support days, was taking it with me, cutting off a chunk, putting it in a Ziploc bag, carrying it to work, putting in a refrigerator where I'm going to be doing lunches, breakfast, lunches, and dinners for my guys. And then I would cut off a couple slices with some crackers. Cut off a couple slices with crackers, potato chips, or something to that effect. Gives a little salt. Okay, because it's very tasty itself. It has, when it's colder, a little greasy feel to it until your mouth warms it up. but it's really good and it's not overbearing. And so I was hooked on their commercial talking about their beef sticks. And I heard the word summer sausage and I was like drawn in. I was intrigued. So what I wanted to do was test them out. And their first time purchase for 30% off was summer sausage, Paleo Valley beef stick, 100% grass-fed beef. And I'll go into the ingredients in a second. So it's not too big. Not too big at all. And so you cut off a chunk of that stuff you buy in the store that might be fresher. This is more like a dried jerky kind. And so what else does it say on there? No encapsulated citric acid, no gluten, soy or corn, no MSG, no artificial preservatives. Beef used, never given antibiotics or steroids. So, I didn't even count these earlier. 3, 6, 10 total per pack. So I got 3 packs of those. And they come in the 10 a pack. For $36. Break that down in 30 sticks. That's plus, I don't know how much there was. How much cost that they incurred. It might have been free shipping because I'm a new person, a new customer. And you break that down anyway, coming out of your pocket, it's a little over $1 and change to get 30 of these all together. And so, hey, I can take, this is my thinking as a prepper, take 3 of these. They can keep all day, they can get hot, they can get cold again, and they can keep on doing that. And because of their dried content, they're not going to change too much. They might have some shrinkage with excessive heat. Okay? But these go right into the cargo pocket. And I hardly ever feel them when I'm walking around and I'm on my feet. 8 hours straight, 10 hours straight. I'm running around in and out of the houses with the guys in their outings. And so I'm like, man, they're starting to get that feeling again in my tummy. And pop one in, save the other 2 for an emergency. If there's an emergency, let's say you go to that group home, and this is just apply it to your own life when you know you're busy. Okay? I'm going back to that group home, everything is fine, and then there's an emergency where someone has a fall. You don't know if their head was hit. They hit their head? Did something else hit their head? How did they fall? They have to go to the ER automatically to do the safe thing. So, bam, you have to call 1 million people. You know dinner's not ready, so you can't start dinner because you don't know how that relief is coming when they do that switch. You take the individual or you meet the individual after the ambulance comes and takes them to the hospital. You have to go there. You can't make anything to eat. You don't want to get caught going to 7-Eleven on the way to the emergency room. Mind you, they're in good hands, but the amount of separation time, depending on the business, you can't really separate from your buddy that just had an injury and you want to know what's going on. So you do your job and you go to the ER and you're hungry there. There they have nothing but vending machines pulling more money out of you for bad things that can kill you. You know, like the sucrose sodas, high fructose, corn syrup sodas, let me say that. The salty chips, name it, corn or potato, okay? All the candy that is so good for that one little high or that one little taste your mouth wants, you know, so your body starts to liven up a little, you know, but all that sugar and all that, you know, preservatives to keep that sugar safe, or those color preservatives or the color dyes and stuff. It's like, I'm going to eat a second one. And then that ties you over while you're waiting for your buddy to be seen. The doctor gives their prognosis. Hey, don't do this anymore. You're okay. You got a little bump. The MRI came back negative. Have a good day. You go back home with your buddy and dinner's not made yet. You can't rely on coworkers to know if they started dinner for the other three. And so they have a later dinner by an hour and a half or so that sets you back. And you're still freaking hungry because you're the one doing all the work. Then you have your third one. And honestly, I hated to feel like in front of my buddies when I make their dinner and I make their meals. I seriously hated, hey, I got to pull out my snack, man. You okay? Good. Maybe we'll work on that dinner sooner. Something different you want dinner? You show that you care about them. Okay? But at the same time, you got to have that freaking alligator skin where you're going to eat because you know that's your survival. You get more stressed out. Your whole system needs food and energy sources to burn while you're using that high intellect to accomplish your mission, while you're using that physical activity and that high activity and high energy Donald Trump lingo, basically energy and physical activity to achieve your goals. So that's what you have. All right. That being said, this is Paleo Valley, and I don't remember exactly what the family sent me an email like a couple hours after I ordered it, or the next day, and they said, thank you for being a valued customer, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I'm going to go over the label one time, and with my readers on, I'm going to go over the ingredients to make sure, and I have not tasted this yet. So, okay, it has some computer printed black lettering there that looks like one of those sell by date messages. It says BB 02-17-27 BB best bought, and the dates are February 17th 2027. I don't know, but that's only a year. That's less than a year from now. So is that a good storage value for the prepper? Maybe not. Paleo Valley, it has a stamp U.S. inspected and passed by Department of Agriculture. Naturally fermented. I don't know what that means, but to me, it tells me that there's a certain amount of protection when that chemical process occurs naturally with all foods and all things in general. That when it's fermented, it takes on a characteristic of its own where it's more resilient. It can stay in dry places and be sustaining longer. I believe that's a good selling point they're trying to say, but I don't understand it per se why. Okay, you can add salt to beef, you can add salt to pork, and you can keep it a long time. But really, if you're going to sell it, can you tell the FDA and the USDA and all them, oh no, this pork was great sitting around for a year? You see what I'm saying? Naturally fermented beef stick, 100% grass-fed beef. No nitrates or nitrates added except for those naturally occurring in celery juice and sea salt. So it's cured with sea salt. No encapsulated citric acid, no gluten, soy, or corn, no MSG, no artificial preservatives. Beef used, never given antibiotics or steroids. The perfect cut-friendly, clean protein snack for on the go. Hey. Paleo Valley beef sticks are unique and artisan crafted in the U.S. from 100% grass-fed beef and spices that are naturally fermented. Our beef comes from 100% grass-fed cows raised entirely on natural grass pastures by family farmers using regenerative agricultural practices in the USA. Okay, so that pretty much states the ingredients. Looking over the nutrition facts, everybody has a friend of mine at work was once saying, no, I can eat that. I can eat as much as I want. I said, no. I said, you can have one serving. It was like such and such ounces, 4 or 5 ounces. I've said before, we've all joked about, 4 potato chips is like 4 ounces. So they say, that is the serving, not the whole bag of chips that we consume because we're trying to be satiated. So 10 servings, that's 10 beef sticks. Serving size, 1 stick, 70 calories. Depending on how you look at that, that might be bad. Because you might want a carb in there to up the calorie intake. But your body processing mostly protein or any beef or meat source is going to take longer to process that and will satiate you as it's burning it off for a fuel source. Okay, total fat per serving 5 grams. Saturated fat is 2.5 of that. Cholesterol 20 milligrams. Sodium 220 milligrams. It says 10% of your daily allowance. Total carbohydrates is very low, so you might want to add a little bit of those salty carbs, a little bit of crackers, a little bit of corn chips, even potato chips, to add to that so you feel satiated even more. And I don't mean overdoing it. I mean, this is the main burning food source, but you put some carbs in there. Dietary fiber is 0. That's not necessarily good because dietary fiber is what you need to continue your motility and have normal bowel movements when you go to the bathroom. Total sugars, I don't understand that, 0. And maybe they wanted to do it that way and keep the taste more natural and more beef as we know it. So for protein, 6 milligrams. Okay, I know some indulgence protein shakes. I purchased some with some extra money. 15 is like worth $19, but they're 30 grams of protein. I can drink that, and I can literally not all of a sudden. And I'm not talking about it. Extraneous, very hard lifting and ongoing running around and, really kind of, I need to take a break here. I'm not talking about that, but everyday living, I've noticed I wasn't hungry and I noticed I didn't notice. So it's like hours later, I was like, maybe I should have a dinner by now because those indulgence shakes were pretty good. 30 grams of protein. This says 6. So, the question is, will this satiate while you're on the go? And again, I'm not saying you're running a marathon or you're lifting like Tony Atlas, okay, or Ronnie Coleman. I'm just saying, is it enough? Okay, now to the nitty-gritty ingredients. 100% grass-fed beef, water, sea salt, organic dextrose from tapioca, celery juice powder, organic allspice, organic coriander, organic nutmeg, organic white pepper, organic black pepper, organic mustard seed, organic paprika, lactic acid starter culture, dye-free beef collagen casing. That's a casing. They stuff the beef in it, and then they dry these in the natural process. Perhaps a fermentation is just how they say. I want to say slow dried cooking it. So the beef is in itself cooked, and it's no longer, let's say, deadly, just sitting out there collecting dust and stuff. But again, it's in a casing, dye-free beef collagen casing. Okay. Collagen, that could be from the gel of fat, and I want to say marrow material, in my experience. Maybe it has to do with other parts of the animal. Distributed by Paleo Valley, 1630 30th Street, Suite, Boulder, Colorado. Hey, I know there's more conservatives in Colorado than a bunch of liberals taking it over, taking Denver over, because I know that they also did some shenanigans then for home rule to outvote the majority. So, if this is 10, then divided by 3 from 36, $12. Okay? So each one is basically $1.20. That beats the store ones, but then you'd have, if you wanted 30 grams of protein in one setting, especially if you're a bigger guy. That's not unheard of, and nor is it unhealthy for a bigger person, male or female. But you'd have 3 of these, so then that would be $3.60, give or take the change. And you'd only get 18 grams of protein. Now, you might feel satiated because your body is taking in the flavors. It doesn't feel it needs anything else. Your body reacts and does not react that way, depending on how much is needed. And overall satiation in your mind's, pleasure centers. And those valves can be turned off real quick because, hey, I got something to occupy my stomach and I know I'm good. You don't have to worry about it the next 10 hours. Some people are like that. Okay, some people feel like they have to eat every hour because of nerves and stress and what have you. And that's not necessarily good metabolism. Also, because it's on the far range of slow metabolism on this side and fast metabolism on the other, and it's making you a basket case because your body is in total, I want to say, its homeostasis is close to a fight or flight, so you have to feed the furnace. And then you feed the furnace, your metabolism goes up. Perhaps cortisol levels go up, okay? And the same thing occurs. You're burning off all that energy, and you're like a chipmunk running around taking care of everything. And you feel like you have to eat constantly, or you have to eat within every 2 hours, or you kind of get those pangs. Me, I get those pangs after a couple cups of coffee, empty stomach. Let's say I have a good breakfast. I can usually go on between 4 to 5 hours on a busy day without eating. And I think that's pretty normal. And then that midday crunch when people are eating lunch and I am assisting them in their safety and to eat what they choose and their well-being to be, like I said, safe, and they're enjoying themselves. Sometimes I will make enough for me without trying to seem greedy, but to make it like a family affair. And this may not be needed, with the exception of getting to that point, making that big meal. I'll make a little extra. I'll make a little extra to supplement this. And the guys understand that. Most group home guys understand that, and they want staff with them. So they're not necessarily always thinking about the food, except, instant satisfaction. Okay? And it's like, staff made all of it, so yeah, they're going to sit down with us and enjoy our company. And that's usually how it worked out for me in my lifestyle. But it didn't have to be every 2 hours. I needed something to eat. The Lord knows That one time you're going all day and all these emergencies are occurring. Don't be caught with your pants down, as the saying goes, because you're hungry, you're agitated, you're running on empty, your stomach hurts, your body is starting to ache, and what happens up here? A lot of thought, you're functioning good because you know how to handle a situation. You know what's more or less expected of you in those emergency situations. You can apply this to any job, actually. Okay? And that one time, you're running on empty, there's something compounding falling on top of you that you did not expect. And I mean that figuratively. I don't mean it actually. And so your metabolism is in kind of like, cortisol is building up. My mind is working, but it feels like it's kind of on automatic pilot. And I need to take a break because I can feel all the tension building up to here. And why is it? Because your body needs to feed off of something, and your mind does too. You ever sit down and eat something really good, and it just hit the spot because it wasn't too overbearing? Take your choice description of, adjectives and what have you, and what those foods do to you, the verbs. But take your choice. Salty. Oh, that's too heavy. That's too greasy. That's too fluffy. That's too light. Okay? And that's too bitter. That's too tangy. It's too spicy. Again. Okay? And you can take those and your body will say, yeah, we don't need that. But when you do eat the right foods, because your body is craving it, kind of, that natural instinct where you feel like, yeah, I wanted that. And it satiated me because I feel in nirvana. I feel in heaven. I feel happy because my mind feels like I'm energized. Okay, in a good way. Not like you're spastic. Not like you're nerve-wracked. Okay, not like you're manic. Not like you're bipolar. So, you're like, okay. Yeah, I needed that. Then, what happens with your mind is you have more energy for your mind to plan everything to solve those smaller issues you thought were a big deal. Your mind is figuring things out as it goes, but it's on a slow down when you ain't got no food in it after 5 hours and emergencies happen. And that cortisol builds up. That cortisol is what kills us. So food we eat isn't good. It causes the eventual cortisol in our body being fatigued. Okay, so here is one beef stick. This is summer sausage. I'm going to keep it simple. When I have buku money flows in the future, I say that joking, starting my new job, I'm happy to report. They have the information on it too, and there, like serving size, calories 70, total fat 5 grams, saturated fat again 2.5, trans fat 0, cholesterol 20 milligrams, sodium 220 milligrams. That's 10% of our daily allowed, what they want us to shoot for. Total carb is 0. That's surprising. So this is all good for you if you're into that paleo, like the name says, Paleo Valley. But the paleo diet is basically Atkins. Atkins never said give up those good legumes, those good tuberous vegetables that give you all those minerals from the earth. Atkins never said that. You only eat beef and that's it. It was predominantly proteins, meats, nuts, cheeses, dairy in general. Protein 6 grams, vitamin D 0, calcium 0. They're just going to go through the whole different stuff in here. And they have the ingredients right here on the very bottom part again. So let's crack one open. Let me see if I got my, yeah. Let's give it a little cut there with my trusty dusty. I love the things that last a long time. As a prepper, this I've had longer than 7 years now, and it's my lay around, and I fold it back up, my cutting blade for packages, and food packages, believe it or not, more often than not. And I try to get a dry part of the label and cut it and open things up cleanly so I can throw the trash away cleanly without, you know, stuff sticking out all over and it sticking all over. Okay, let's see if I'm shaking this a little. With my coffee, I might have a couple of these. Please pardon me. Texture, similar. And taste what they say about the fermentation. Gives it a little sour flavor. Summer sausage has a little bit of that sour flavor for beef. This is a little more sour than I thought it would be. I thought it would be a little bit more mild. It's not bad. So, you can taste the skin around it contracting to the beef product as it's fermenting and it's drying closer together, just drawing closer. Let's face it, everything that has flesh is going to be drying out some. Any food is like that too, with vegetables especially. Even oranges with rinds. All food, all fleshy material that we consume, okay, even our own skin when we're posthumous, our skin contracts and it gets this wrinkly kind of feeling. And it looks almost like this, gray, then it turns to black. Not bad. It's better than anything you buy in the store for stuff to shit. Excuse my language. Stuff to sit on the shelf indefinitely. Not bad. It is like summer sausage. And here's the caveat. It has a kind of aroma to it. Definitely beef product, definitely beef stick like. Not greasy like beef sticks. Flavorful. That sour kind of beef you find in a beef stick. Not as salty. It's pretty good. It's flavorful with the beef and the natural fats that, I want to say, shrunk and solidified a little, made it more concentrate. Not bad. Do you mind if I partake in another one? Thank you. Now that's 6 grams of protein. That's what's mostly satiating you when you eat this. I'm going to have 2 now. And then after the video, I'm going to wait. And I'm going to see. And I'm not going to try to count time like, oh my God, yeah, I'm going 3 hours now without food. And that might mess up the variable. Am I satiated or not? For how long? The variable is what? Time? Could part of the variables be beef product itself? Maybe. As a protein source. I know I eat a good hamburger, and I know when I'm not hungry for 4 or 5 hours, it was a better quality meat of hamburger. And I'm like, oh yeah. I don't even have to look back and say, I have not eaten in 5 hours, so I better start eating now. It's like, there's no need to eat at this point. Yeah, I would usually want to eat by 4 or 5 hours later. It's because the beef product was better. Didn't have all those additives. It wasn't scraps of beef. Don't get me wrong, it smells like beef, like a beef stick. Shameless plug, Slim Jims are like that grease and everything. It does have a little smell like that, like even that, if you consider that a viable beef stick. But there's kind of a, I want to say, perfume aroma. Like, it's not unpleasant. It's not just all fatty grease. Strange, because I don't know what to make of it. I mean, I don't want to say the wrong descriptor. Very good, and these are lighter without tasting. Like, it's light, and there was something added in there. Just make sure you know there's no sugars in it or something, you know, for a beef stick. Nothing is missing. Breaks down good in the mouth. It's not super greasy. This is not cold, but it's not on the warm side. So I'm looking for that grease sheen that, you know, when it gets colder in our mouths, you got like this film. I'm like, no, I don't like that. No one likes that, but hey, when you're eating and you're drinking and everything, it goes away right away. Pretty. But you make note of it because it got that greasy feel with those corporate beef sticks. You know, regardless of what they are or what type. Teriyaki. Oh, that's an insult to, you know, the Japanese and teriyaki food. Can't stand that on the store shelves. I like bypass it. That and the beef jerky. This is better than beef jerky. Breaks down easier. Doesn't have as much sugars and salts in it. Even if they taste sweet, there's a certain amount of salt in there that cured it. I'm impressed. This is not bad. I'd say that flavor-wise, it does everything you need and is pretty admirable. Is it lemon meringue piece of pie? No. But for those truckers out there, those preppers out there, those construction workers out there, those hardcore Americans that are out there and they have to bust their ass every day, I mean, doing the hard work, and truckers, they have to load and unload their trailers often, on top of getting down and making sure that the separated load is a job in itself. This would satiate you. I recommend. It's not bad. I'm kind of impressed it doesn't have that very thick, greasy aftertaste to it. It's all beef stick. It does remind me of the summer sausage cut. but it's drier. It's about the same, but it's kind of squished closer and drier, appearing drier. Has a kind of aroma to it that you can tell that's what you're eating, but it's not overall, God, I want to say blanketing your sinuses and your olfactory nerve endings, your palate in the back of your mouth. Again, it doesn't have that greasy film. It builds up in the back of our tongue when it's colder, fatty fat. What do they call it? Hallow? Hallow, whatever. Hallow? Fallow? I forget. And I'm a word connoisseur, so. Anyways, guys, I think it was worth it if you have some money to spend and can get it under 50 bucks. So now I have 34 of those left for my starting work in the next couple weeks and months ahead. And I will most likely, with the first paycheck, order more of these because these are not bad. These are better than the ones that are in similar packaging that you can throw onto a more carb or something lunch you might eat, and this you'll mix in. And it's only 6 grams of protein, but that's enough protein with your carb source that was your main lunch. This will get you to, this with that will get you to dinner time. Most likely, no problem. And if it doesn't within the next 2.5 to 4.5 hours, pop another one out, go to town. Kind of impressed with that. Kind of impressed. I didn't see anything that was really life-changing in the ingredients. Organic dextrose. Dextrose, I think, is just another term biochemically for sugars. Tapioca plant is natural. Celery juice powder. This is pretty much all natural. And some of their own spices could preserve it too. Black pepper is a harsher spice. Nutmeg, I don't know, but it's very bitter. Paprika is kind of peppery flavor to it. Okay, lactic acid starter culture. I'm not sure exactly what that is. The lactic acid you build up in your muscles, that's what tells your muscles they hurt because of the extreme damage that is done to it. And I want to say the lactic acid is the actual starvation of blood to those muscles when you're working out. And that's what causes a lot of the pain in that muscle and soreness, along with the stretching and tearing of that muscle. The lactic acid buildup, I believe, occurs with some lack of blood flow because of said workout. You got a lot of blood flow going there, and maybe it's too much. You know, the lactic acid buildup is in the muscle's blood. In any event, dye-free beef collagen casein. Yeah, so again, they're out of Boulder, Colorado, and I think I'm going to make them my customer. And I want to say do business with them in the future. Excuse me, because it's a good product. I'm impressed by it, and for what it has to do, I want to say kudos to them. Saddam Hussein celebration to you. All right, guys, thank you, and I hope you appreciated and enjoyed this review of Paleo Valley from Facebook Commercials. It's a family business, I believe. Naturally fermented beef sticks. Summer sausage is not that bad. It's not too overbearing. I think even ladies with smaller appetites would like these. I really do. You know, when they're kind of famished too, and they want to eat something more healthy for them that isn't producing a lot of carbs and glucogen and everything turning to, you know, instant fat we do with all the excess sugars. This isn't it. This is really good. And I hope you guys look into it. Thank you and have a great day.